Well, before the start of the presentation, I just want to ask you guys some question. What would you do if your sister, your cousin, or your best friend went missing and no one seemed to care? And what if the media stayed silent, the police delayed the action, and the system just moved on, you know? And while you were left behind, waiting and wondering. That's what thousands of indigenous family in Canada has lived through. And that's what brings me here today. Hello everyone, my name is Sachin Gurung, and today I want to talk about the women we have walked past for far too long. The missing and murdered indigenous women and girls of Canada. MMIWG in short. As an international student in Canada, I was shocked when I learned about the scale of this crisis. But being shocked is not enough. What's happening to these indigenous women in this beautiful country is not a mystery. It's a reflection of like deep ongoing problems like colonialism, racism, and inequality. Let's begin with one story. I guess some of you have heard the name of Tina Fontaine. If you haven't heard her name, let me tell her story to you guys. She was only 15 years old, a child, a beautiful kid. She came from Sanking First Nation in Manitoba. After losing her father, Tina needed help, but the system that were supposed to help her, like child and family services, healthcare, and like police, everyone failed her. She ran away. She asked for help, and then she disappeared. As you guys have expected, her body was later found in the Red River in Winnipeg, wrapped in a blanket and weighed down. And the man, what's crazy is that the man who was like accused of killing her was found not guilty. And this Tina, a beautiful girl, a beautiful child, never got a justice. But Tina is not just the only one. There are like thousands of stories. Between 1980 and 2014, there were like nearly 7,000 police reported murders of women in Canada, and more than one in six of those women are indigenous. Even though indigenous women are make only up to like 4% of total Canada's female population. And while the number of non-indigenous women being murdered has gone down, the number of indigenous women being killed has stayed like same. So that means like it's not a coincidence. It's like a real and serious crisis. Indigenous women face many challenges like poverty, lack of education and healthcare, unsafe housing, and on top of that, like they carry the pain passed down through generations because of like residential schools and being forced off their own land. And these are not just like a personal struggles. These are signs of a bigger system that was never built to protect them, And even like uh, mm, even when something like terrible happens, the justice system still fails. Investigations are often delayed, families are left without answers. So, like in 2024, the Assembly of First Nations said that out of 231 calls for justice from the National Inquiry into MMIWG, only two have been fully completed. Two, remember, just two. And that means like this is not a progress. This is like complete a failure. And even now, the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, says like there are like more than 1,000 cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women that are still unsolved. So that means like hundreds of families are still waiting, still hoping, still not being heard. Let me share you another story of Loretta Sondres. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but she was an Enoch student, Enoch woman. She was like 26 years old. A university student. She was like writing her thesis about like writing. I mean, like she was searching her thesis on about missing and murdered indigenous women. And she was smart, passionate, and proud. And she was actually the first person in her family to go to the university. Then later, she went missing. Her body was found on the side of a highway. And what crazy is like she was killed by her own roommates. That's crazy. And Loretta was doing research about this crisis, and she became a victim of this own crisis. Some people say like the government has invested money, they raise awareness, and they had like inquiries. But here's the truth: that's not enough. That's like completely not enough. Holding a memorial or writing a report does not bring justice. It doesn't protect the next girl from disappearing. According to the Ontario Native Women's Association, Indigenous women are still like 6 times more likely to be murdered than non-Indigenous women. And that number has not changed until now. What we need, in my opinion, like what we need, real is real like long-term actions. Like such as like, first of all, we have to like fully complete all 231 call for justice. And I believe like we have to build like they have to build support systems that are led by indigenous communities, like shelters, counseling, and health service. And also like in my opinion, we have to make sure indigenous communities have access to good school, job, and safe housing. And we have to also conduct like some programs like aboriginal alert system or real time system made by and for indigenous people, and also give indigenous women a voice in decisions that affect their lives. And just as important, we need to change how we think and speak. The media often blames the victims, calling them high risk, but no one should be blamed for their own death. Everyone deserves safety. Everyone deserves to be treated like with dignity, and we need to stop blaming and start believing. Move from like silence to support, from ignorance to action. And this is not, in my opinion, like this is not just a women issue. This is like a Canadian issue, a human right issue, a justice issue. So today, I was not here just to give you information. I'm here to ask you to care, to speak up, to act. Like there is a saying in TTC, like if you see something, say something. So I just want you guys to, if you like see these serious things going on, please speak up, please act. That makes a huge difference. Because Fontaine and Loreto Sundress never got her voice back. They never get her voice back. But we can be their voice now. We can make sure she is heard. They are heard. Thank you so much.